to sporting stars who took the world by storm as a youngster. Let's talk about our next contender.
Oh, he made his first competitive 147 break at the age 15, turned pro at 16, and this year, in his mid-40s, won a 6th World Snooker title. A born entertainer, it's time to launch the rocket. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
There's many things you can say about Ronnie the Rocket O'Sullivan, but it always comes back to one thing.
I would put him down as a bona fide genius beyond belief.
We don't come across these people very often in our life. That's why we should treasure it when we do.
But what is genius? I'll tell you what genius is. Genius is restless, relentless. It can't sit still. It can't stay quiet.
I can't describe Ronnie O'Sullivan because you never know what's coming next.
When he's playing, I think it's bums on seats, isn't it? Everyone wants to see it happen.
Born in Brum, he was bred in Essex, but Ronnie's magic was made in days on the bays.
There was a kid that people talked about, this baby-faced 12-year-old who was knocking balls in off the lampshade for fun.
It all came quick, didn't it? Glory, pain, heartache, fame, cameras, chaos. Enough to leave the master of breaks broken.
There are times when you feel like everybody's looking at you. It makes you feel like you're very special. It also means that when things aren't going so well, the tables are turned a bit and you feel like the weight of the world's on your shoulders.
I think he felt exposed. He felt as if the world was against him in a way because of how successful he was.
Time to stop, breathe, relax, reload, take your marks, take your cue, son.
The best things come out of struggle, yeah.
O'Sullivan wins the World Championship.
You see, genius don't slow down when you expect it. There are no breaks when you're hurtling back to the top of the world. 45 years old, this rocket don't rust.
Ronnie O'Sullivan is the 2020 World Champion.
It's really beautiful to watch him win something like that, because I know, as much as he won't admit it, it means everything.
There's magic in some people, and Ronnie's got that magic.
He's got to be up there with the most talented sports people this country's ever produced.
We need heroes. Ronnie is an outrageous hero. He's a rebel, but he is the best player that's ever been produced to play this wonderful game.
What a life story, fantastically told by Danny Dyer. And we're delighted to be joined by Ronnie O'Sullivan right now. Thank you for joining us, Ronnie.
Hi, how are you?
Great to see you as one of the 6, Ronnie, and it's just fantastic. It's a tribute to your longevity as well as your talent. I mean, titles across 3 different decades. How much of that has been a mental game?
Yeah, well, I think the first half of my career was based just on talent and getting through on talent, and then the second half of my career I kind of delved into the mental side and worked a bit with Steve Peters, and obviously it then became more about the mental side of the game. So I think, you know, the first half was just done through youth and fearlessness. The second half, you obviously have a few battle scars, and I needed to address them, and I think I'm a much more rounded player now because of that.
So, Ronnie, I know things were so different this year in Sheffield, and you've just mentioned working with Steve Peters. What were the sort of techniques that you were using that now you approach, that you use in your game?
I think a lot of it is just to try and just forget how you're playing and just, you know, one shot at a time, one ball at a time, and just make a judgment call at the end of the game, not during, you know, because during the game you've just got a job to do and you've got to try and do that job as best as you can. So being hard on yourself and negative on yourself during the game is probably, you know, I would imagine most sports people have done it, and it's hard to not do it, but it's how, you know, if you can just nip it in the bud, put it at one side, and then just get back to just focusing on just trying to, you know, play the best you can with what you've got at that given time, you know.
And then we just saw in the film there, you out running, hoodie up, enjoying it. Has that really helped your game, going out running?
A lot of people used to say, oh, because he's so fit, you know, it makes him a better snooker player. But I played my best snooker when I couldn't run. I got these injuries, so for the last 10 years I never run, and it allowed me to focus solely on snooker. I still kept fit, but I've just got back into running there. And you'll know as an athlete yourself, you know, you sometimes you push it a bit too much. So the week before the UK Championships, I ended up doing 55 miles, and by the time I got to the start of the tournament, I was absolutely knackered. So it's, you know. you know, I do kind of, I'm a bit obsessive, so, yeah, sometimes I get it a bit wrong, you know.
But that's a shame. I didn't even go running this morning. I know Gabby was out running.
Yeah, she went out running. But that obsession and that concentration on snooker has paid its dividends. And Steve Davis in the film there said, you're one of the greatest sportsmen that Britain's ever produced. And what does that mean to you to get the accolades and the recognition as well as the titles?
Well, coming from Steve Davis, who was my hero, and, you know, listen, I mean, if it was a footballer talking about me, I'd probably think he probably doesn't really understand the intricacies of my sport. But Steve Davis, you know, he knows the game inside out. You know, he's been a player himself, and you know, I think he's a great observer of what's going on mentally and physically with snooker. So for Steve to say that, you know, that means more to me than probably any World Championship, any trophies that I've won, because, you know, if he says it, you know, he knows, you know. So, you know, I'm proud. You know, I'm proud that, you know, someone like Steve has kind of speaks about me in them sort of terms. You know, he was my hero growing up. So, yeah.
He admires you, so do we. It is an absolute thrill to watch you play, but to hear you speak as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Gracias.